in the position for him. Cahill says that he's leaving office to spend more time with family. President Trump has announced sanctions targeting Turkey's economy. It's aimed at restraining the Turks' assault on Kurdish fighters and civilians in Syria, which all started when the U.S. began withdrawing troops. NBC's Richard Engel reports from northern Syria.
The White House calling for an immediate ceasefire in northern Syria in response to the Turkish aggression. President Trump speaking by phone last night with the top Kurdish commander and Turkey's president.
The United States of America is simply not going to tolerate Turkey's invasion of Syria any further.
Mr. Trump sending Vice President Pence on an urgent diplomatic mission to the region.
We'll be leaving as quickly as possible to travel into the region to pursue a ceasefire and a negotiated settlement.
At the same time, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin announcing new sanctions on Turkey.
The president has been very clear. These sanctions are very, very strong. He is prepared to remove these sanctions if there is the necessary actions on Turkey's point.
So what sparked the administration's new push for peace? It appears at least 3 major developments, all of them predicted by U.S. military officials, all against U.S. interests. These Turkish-backed Arab militias, Turkey's shock troops in this war, which U.S. officials say include former ISIS and al-Qaeda members, are carrying out atrocities that U.S. intelligence has been monitoring. ISIS prisoners, less protected as their Kurdish guards need to fight, have been escaping. And perhaps most critical of all, the Kurds struck a deal with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to join them. But is it too late to change events on the ground here in northern Syria? After all, it was President Trump who gave Turkey strong indications that the U.S. would not oppose Turkey's military incursion. The White House says that the president gave no such green light. Turkey says that's exactly what happened. Richard Engel, NBC News, northern Syria.
Bernie Sanders getting back on the campaign trail, where you can see him in tonight's debate. And Vermont was one of a handful of states celebrating their first Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, students at UVM are joining in the festivities. Still ahead.
You're watching NBC5 News at noon.
Welcome back. Senator Bernie Sanders getting ready to take the debate stage tonight after a heart attack sidelined him from the campaign trail earlier this month. The debate will mark exactly 3 weeks since Sanders was first taken to the hospital in Nevada complaining of chest discomfort. Since then, he's mostly been recovering inside his Burlington home. But with less than 4 months until the first in the nation primaries, he is lost valuable time on the campaign trail amid a crowded field of Democratic contenders. NBC5 spoke with a political analyst who says the senator needs to use the debate to quickly put this health scare behind him and get back to talking about his progressive agenda.
He wants to address it as quickly as he can and then move on. He does not want his entire appearance here to be centered on, well, Senator Sanders is healthy, and that's the name of that game, and case closed. The debate is about much more than that.
Senator Sanders had a few stops between here and the debate stage in Ohio. He hosted a rally in New York City early this morning, and his campaign has a number of watch parties scheduled throughout our region, including in Burlington and in Plattsburgh. Well, new fundraising numbers are in for what could be a big Senate race next year. Incumbent New Hampshire Senator Jeanne Shaheen setting a record for third quarter fundraising in the new year before an election. The Democrat raising close to $2.3 million. On the Republican primary, attorney Bryant Corky Messner reporting $1.2 million for the third quarter. $1 million of that is a personal loan to his campaign. And retired General Donald Bolduc raised $239,000 without any personal contributions. The third Republican in the race, former House Speaker Bill O'Brien, has not yet reported his fundraising totals. Well, you've heard of pick your own apples and pick your own pumpkins, but this Vermont farm is putting a twist on the fall tradition. We'll show you. You're watching NBC5 News. Welcome back. This year was the first Indigenous Peoples Day since Governor Phil Scott signed legislation making the change from what was once known as Columbus Day. This morning, dozens of students and state legislators gathered on UVM's campus to celebrate the official change, as well as the building relationship between UVM and Indigenous people. Members of the Abnaki tribe were there delivering a message about moving forward from issues in the past and the importance of educating everyone about history.
This is about healing. It's not about dwelling on the past. It's about how do we provide a bright future for our children.
UVM holding workshops throughout the day for students to learn more about Indigenous people. A grower in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom coming up with a creative pick-your-own concept. At Barmoo Farm in Standard, Vermont, people getting to pick their own hemp. It's the cannabis cousin to marijuana that lacks pot's THC. It's the chemical that gets people high. The plant is getting towards the end of the season, so the farm hosted a Pick Your Own long weekend. Give people a chance to come get a close look at the crop.
The same way, you pick your own apples, you pick your own blueberries.
The farm is one of about 900 farms growing hemp in the state. Farms already thinking of offering more dates next fall. Vermont environmental officials say they found adult zebra mussels in Lake Dunmore. The state tested them after an investigation from the Lake Dunmore Public Access Greeter Program. The Lake Association then brought in divers to remove pieces to examine them. The state is looking for a way to stop them from spreading. Officials warn people with boats to check and clean their boats, their trailers, all that stuff to prevent spreading them. If you've stopped at Market 32 Price Chopper lately, listen up. The chain is recalling its Market 32 American White and American Yellow cheeses. They're sold in the deli and also used in prepared foods. The store says they may contain small pieces of metal. You can return the packaging for a full refund. A company with a major presence in the North Country is going green. Canadian company Novabus says it'll start building all new electric buses for the American market. According to the North Country Chamber of Commerce, it's part of a larger move towards electric buses and transportation in general. In a statement, the Chamber President, Gary Douglas, said, in part, quote, "We are strongly positioned as an important new hub for transit technology in buses, rail, and aerospace." New Hampshire state officials say Littleton Regional Hospital can leave an affiliation meant to cut costs and keep health care accessible to rural communities. The Attorney General's office says the hospital will have to pay a fee of at least $2.5 million and add services to its facility that would allow it to leave the North Country Healthcare Collaborative, which was created in 2015. Littleton Regional was the largest member. Later today, Governor Phil Scott expected to throw his support behind country stores in the state. He is expected to make an announcement at the Village Grocery and Deli in Waitsfield at 1 p.m. It's part of an effort to celebrate the state's iconic stores and their unique economic and cultural impacts.
Now, First Alert Weather with meteorologist Tyler Jankowski.
Whether you're stopping at those country stores or orchards or just getting out and about today, is a good day to be up, but man, that's going to change.
Absolutely, man. In terms of sunshine, this is probably the brightest day until the weekend. So we have a long stretch here with a big storm in between. We'll start out with the live view from Plattsburgh, a beautiful shot with the orange trees there on the bottom. Not going to be like that much longer, especially with the wind on the way in. Plattsburgh is sitting at 58 right now, pretty nice. Elsewhere, we have a lot of 50s as well, 50 in Montpelier, 49 though in Newport, 48 in Saranac Lake. So let's just get today out of the way. It's simple, mainly clear, dry, upper 50s for the high over the next couple hours. That's the easy part of the forecast. It's really what comes after that turns far more active. In fact, I think it's heavy rain from Wednesday evening through Thursday. The start time has definitely been pushed back to tomorrow evening. I think on Thursday, mainly only over the Adirondacks, there'll be some potential for wet snow over the higher elevations. And perhaps the most consistent thing over the next 3 days will be the wind, not just tomorrow and Thursday, but also into Friday. So 3 days of gusty wind, not great for the foliage. So I think for most of us today might be the last day of peak fall color before we kind of get into that past peak category. But this is a map we'd almost see in January where you have two big systems ready to merge. There's all this moisture over the southern states, then a system over the Great Lakes. They're going to come together into a big storm that just wraps up over New England. And you'll see that here on Futurecast. So the one change to the forecast is to make tomorrow morning nicer. There's probably some sunshine through maybe even lunchtime. I don't think the heavy rain comes in until tomorrow evening. So this here is 11 o'clock tomorrow night when you check in with Tom. Most of us starting to see some of the rain heavy. I mean, look at this Thursday morning, red, orange, yellow colors indicating downpours for hours on end. And this continues through Thursday. And it's really midday Thursday when we start to see a little potential for some wet snow in the high elevations of the Adirondacks. That's what the blue and pink color is there. That goes away fairly quickly by later tomorrow. Perhaps a lingering shower early on Friday, but after that, we start to slowly clear out. So it's really the highest part of the Adirondacks where you see this white color here out towards Lake Placid, where midday Thursday, so late morning, early afternoon, there may be a little snow, mainly summit kind of stuff, where there may be enough to whiten things up, especially when you look up to the higher elevation. So here's the wind forecast, getting windier through tomorrow, 30+ mile-per-hour gusts by tomorrow evening. But most definitely the biggest concern for wind is very early Thursday morning east. So the Northeast Kingdom down to the Upper Valley, we could be talking about 40, perhaps up close to 50 miles per hour out that way. And that would be close to concerning level. So that's what we'll continue to watch. And then it's still gusty on Thursday heading into Friday. So here's the 5-day forecast showing the sunshine for today. Enjoy it. The rain really not in here until very late tomorrow. Most of tomorrow is good. And then windy with rain and that high elevation snow on Thursday, but getting better for the weekend. Upper 50s on Saturday, low 60s on Sunday. Dave?